Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, Episode 1 of Season 2. My name's Morgan.
And I'm Will, and welcome back to our very new studio.
It is
for the
very
first
new.
episode of Season 2, where I'm going to act a little bit like a travel agent, and Morgan's going to be my client, and we're going to see how cheap we can get you away for a weekend holiday, targeting at £100.
Ooh. I'm just trying to, do you have the travel agent appearance?
I do,
I'd
deadly
kind of-
serious, and I'm going to try and rip you off.
Yeah, nose job.
So I say £100, but your holiday's only going to be worth
Nose job, tan.
£20.
Yeah, no, I think you're getting there.
So for the first time this season, Morgan, let's
Roll the intro.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide, 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
So, it's lovely to be back in the studio.
Isn't it lovely?
As the young kids of YouTube would say, it's been a minute. That's what they'd normally say.
We're I don't know.
Makes me feel old.
We're like middle-aged on YouTube.
Middle age on the border of golden oldies, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're quite
get in there.
too old for YouTube, but...
Nah, we're still young in the YouTube world. So anyway, before we start this amazing episode on planning and trying to plan a good trip which would fit into a 9-to-5 working week without having to take off any holiday,
Ooh.
we need to tell you about where you can find us, both watching us or
Here.
listening to us. So if you're watching us or
Outside.
you want to watch us, you can find us on YouTube at The BKS Travel.
No.
Best Kept Secrets Travel.
No. YouTube at Best Kept Secrets Travel.
Funnily enough, Morgan does all that.
Instagram at The BKS Travel.
And you can like, subscribe, ring that notification bell on YouTube just to make sure that you see every episode popping up. Especially, more importantly now, as mentioned in our trailer, we've changed the time of this episode on YouTube, which is going to be Monday evening at...
6 p.m.
And if you're listening or you're planning on listening on a podcast, it's going to be released every Tuesday at...
7 a.m.
So, we've got many podcast platforms to listen to us on, including Castro, Apple Music and Apple Podcasts. And
Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, you said Castro, Podcorn. There's loads of them that you can watch us, and we're Best Kept Secrets Travel.
And the most important thing before we get into the episode is for every...
Save the trees.
Exactly. Save those trees. Help us grow and help those trees grow, because every 50 downloads we get on a podcast, we plant a tree somewhere around the world in one of our favourite locations, and we've planted them now in almost every single continent. Antarctica's a little bit tough.
Yeah, I don't think many trees grow in... Whoa.
There's a moth. No, it's a lacewing fly. Sorry about that.
Save the environment.
Save the environment, and I killed a fly. So, if you're listening onto a podcast, at least you didn't have to witness that. Or for every 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel, we are also planting a tree, but in a National Trust site around the UK. And if you want to know what is a National Trust site, or how you could join it, or where you need to see it, you can watch that in Season 1, Episode 10.
Yes, he's correct.
I'm correct. Finally.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is correct.
So, Morgan, you ready for this episode to begin?
I was born ready.
Were you really? You were born ready for this specific episode to begin?
Yes, my Dromomania
Season 2.
brought me here.
Oh, exactly. Because you like to wonder. Right, so the first thing we're going to do, as we did with Episode 1, Season 1, where we've actually got a free guide on planning.
Stumble, follow a script.
Yes, that was that. But in terms of planning,
Oh,
which
got
is
it,
what
got
we're
it.
talking about in this episode, Morgan,
Yeah.
we have a free planning guide in that episode. And one of the first things we talk about is, are you going to be a group or are you going to solo travel? And for Morgan and I, we are basing this weekend away as the two of us imagining we're going away. So the budget will be individual budgets between us, targeting £100 per person.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've done the solo or group travel, the next thing is, what is your goal? What do you really want to try and get from the holiday? or what do you want to experience or see? That's really, really key in trying to get a holiday. So Morgan, what's as my client in inverted commas for this, what's your goal from this holiday? What do you want to try and achieve?
I'd like to go to space.
Yeah, not in budget.
Darn it. I would like to do or see something that's unique, something that's different that I haven't done before, or maybe can't do in London.
Okay, can't do in London. Would you be okay for a city break, or do you need to be in the middle of nowhere? Because take into account it's just a weekend. You're trying to fit this into your work week, so we can't fly too far. Otherwise, your time in the country is going to be minimal.
Well, we'll go for city break then.
So city break, but you want to do something in the city, which is unique. But then you're fine to just learn about the city, because sometimes you go to city break if you've never been before. You need to do some.
Oh yes,
classical tourism.
every time I go to a city, I think the first and best thing you should do is go on one of the free walking tours, because then you go and see all the touristy things, you learn lots of information, and it's also a really good way to meet people. And I've met lots of people that I've either gone out clubbing with that night or done activities with the next day, and it's a really great thing that I always recommend. Best kept secret.
Sounds like it. So we've got your goal. What's our budget? We said so. We're going to target £100. We'll see roughly where we come to on that. Time frame. We said 9 to 5 job. So we're going to assume that you've finished at 5 o'clock on a Friday.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Morgan is training to be an accountant. So the chance of that happening is small.
I wasn't late today.
We're going to assume you. We're going to assume you finish 5 p.m. on a Friday. Get to the airport. So we're going to assume earliest flight. You want to be at the airport at 7-ish. That's what we're going to target. And then back before midnight on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Perfect. So 2 nights staying, 2 good days of activity, something on the Friday night, or just going and sleeping on the Friday, then waking up early. For a day of
from experience of my trips so far this year, I think it's more likely you arrive at 3 or 4 a.m. Saturday morning.
Yeah, but you have been going to some places which are quite far away, which I think for the normal person, Morgan, doesn't really fit into the dream of having a good weekend away, enjoying it and getting a little bit of rest, and not just.
So we're going to fly to Scunthorpe.
No, we are flying internationally, not domestically. That's going to be the goal.
Okay.
And we need to make some assumptions on this trip, including we're assuming you don't need to take any PCR tests or lat flow tests, because that drastically affects the budget.
And that all countries are open.
And it is all fluctuating. So that's the basis we're going off for this episode. So that's effectively the basis of what we need for now.
And then the next point is what location, all of the above.
Well, for all of the above, I think the first thing we need to do is see where we can fly the cheapest.
Well, that would be answering what locations work for all of the above.
No, but for example, if your budget was stretched a lot further, then we could start listing out places. But for this, we're going to be tight to the budget. We're going to go on Skyscanner. First, we're going to do, I'll do it on my phone so that makes it even easier. You don't need a laptop or anything. So on my phone, Skyscanner.
On private browsing.
Yes, because then the price shouldn't fluctuate as much. 2 adults. We're going to assume it's a weekend. So we've said, let's do a random weekend.
February.
We said, okay, we're doing February. February, we'll do the weekend 25th to the 27th.
Oh,
we'll do
before my birthday. Lovely.
Amazing, isn't it? So here we go. Cheapest place coming up is France.
So on Skyscanner, you can go click everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're doing Friday to Sunday, but one of the features which I really wish they had on Skyscanner was you cannot, if you're going for everywhere, you can't filter for the time of the outgoing, the outbound and inbound flight. So you actually have to click in and out of every single town or place to then see if the flights work, and then adjust the sliders so that you can get the flights in the evening on the Friday and in the evening on the Sunday.
So, how about for £24 return flight? I think 24 is that the cheapest it's going to come up on Skyscanner? Scanning the last couple of providers. Ooh.
Do the flight times work?
That's one of the toughest things. Now trying to filter the flight times.
Yeah, so as you got to click into every single one.
So you need to go into filter and then you go into outbound.
Yeah.
Return. Go for about
And then
that.
I'm sure the price is going to jump drastically up.
So it has for Lithuania, which is a pain.
Yeah, so it's very much a lot of trial and error when you're doing this. And as you can see, we haven't pre-planned this. We're
trying to do this off the cuff to show you that it is possible to do it in a shorter time frame. So we're going to go somewhere different.
So what are you clicking on next?
Going to go through the countries. France. I feel like France is too close to us.
Yeah.
I feel like we've
That's
both done France. So I want to go for somewhere which we don't really know.
Andorra.
But also fits within the budget. And also, I might be able to find. Let's go for it. I haven't been. Luxembourg.
I do want to do that I genuinely want to do that for a weekend like this.
Oh, flight time's perfect. £24. Flights at 7 o'clock. You can make that. Just.
No, I'm thinking, do you want to book this?
Morgan.
I mean, I haven't looked at the COVID requirements, but we're talking February.
Okay. So this could work. So it's £24. So you're flying at 7 and you land. It's only an hour and 15 flight. That's perfect.
So we've got possibly drinks and a full night's sleep on.
Yeah, so landing at 9 o'clock and most importantly,
Where did you
save
say
even
7
more money.
o'clock?
Sorry. No, you take off at 7.
7, yeah.
And you're landing at 9 and then you gain the hour. So on your flight back, you take off at 9:50 and you land at 10
Which airport are we going from?
Stansted.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, from my work, I think it's tight, but we'll go with it.
This could work for a Londoner. This could work.
As long as they're not in West London.
So we're going to go for this. So Stansted, £24, return flight. Most important thing, so this is with Ryanair. So we'll use the one bag only rule.
One
Which
bag
saves you-
only. One bag only.
Saves you a lot of time, a lot of money. And if you need to know a lot more about that, then you definitely need to go back to season 1 episode.
We say it a lot of the time.
Episode 3, Morgan.
We talk about one bag only for Australia.
Yeah, but the episode, our cost episode, the first one we talk about it.
Episode 3 is
Episode
Australia.
2. No, it's
Oh
episode
my
2
goodness.
of season 1. Sorry, one bag only, episode 2, season 1, where we teach you all about how to save money whilst travelling. It's the quick premise of it is you only ever take a carry-on luggage because it's such a short weekend. You do not need 5 pairs of shoes and everything else. You can pack really, really light and efficient, which makes the whole trip quicker because you're not wasting time in airports and you're getting through as quick as possible. So, £24, you're landing. That's pretty good so far.
That's good. 20,
And a
just
lot
under
of
25% of the budget. But now we also have to think that,
Luxembourg, I know off the top of my head, is not a cheap place though.
yeah,
It's
and
a notoriously expensive place.
also now we have an extra night there. I will look up accommodation.
We're going to both try and look up accommodation because sometimes this can take a little bit of time. So who are you going to look through? I was going to look through Hostelworld.
So was I.
Okay, you go Hostelworld, I'll go Booking.com, and we'll see who comes out on top. So for anyone who doesn't know what Hostelworld is, it is quite literally a platform with...
I assume we're
There's
staying
many
in
hostels.
Luxembourg City.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a platform with lots of hostels around the world. I think we even use Hostelworld when we're middle of nowhere in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
We've used it kind of everywhere around the world. Morgan looks like he's dying right now at the price of some of these.
Okay, so I have gone on Luxembourg City and on Hostelworld for 2 nights.
How expensive is this, Morgan?
And there is only one hostel,
There's one hostel.
But I might, because it's too. I'm going to check December and see if there's any more options. No, there's less. There is only one, and it is £23 a night.
Per night, per person.
Yes.
So the cheapest I found, price for 2 nights, is £88. So that's the entire weekend. £88. That's not bad.
Well, that's the same as the hostel.
And this is hotel.
Yeah.
Which hostel did you find? Was it Youth Hostel Luxembourg City?
Luxembourg City Hostel.
So I think we might have found the same one. Well, here it's saying £94 and breakfast included. That's pretty good.
Breakfast included is, yeah.
So £94 breakfast included.
So we're at £65, roughly.
Yeah. £71.
Yeah.
So for £71, you're getting return flights, plus accommodation, plus your breakfast included. So that's 2 breakfasts. So that's 2 meals out already done.
2 meals out of 2 that you're going to be able to afford.
But the benefit of that is actually if you have a really big breakfast and you really go for it, and they allow you to, if it's a big buffet breakfast, then sometimes you can actually then try and combine your lunch and dinner into one thing in the day.
Yeah, that's it.
So Luxembourg City, we've got the flight sorted for that. So now let's try and find some activities. Do you reckon who do you want to look for the unique activity, and who's going to look for the typical things to do?
I'll look for the unique activity.
So I'm going to look for the stereotypical things. So the first thing I've done is best things to do for free in Luxembourg, because why not? It's one of the easiest things to look up. 3 things to do in Luxembourg City. Here we are on luxembourgcity.com. So there are lots of walking trails throughout the city, which perfect opportunity to explore the city's most popular tourist spots and hidden gems. Lots of cobbled streets to walk down. I'm not even going to be able to pronounce half of these words.
Go on.
No, the Chemin de la Corniche. No idea what that is, or taking a stunning view of the Grand District from the Bock. Don't know where that is.
So I have gone on Google and I've typed in unique things to do in Luxembourg. And one of the things that's come up is the tunnels of the Casemates du Bock.
Okay.
And now there's an ad. So this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is one of the most historical Luxembourg city attractions. It is basically built into the rock beneath the city's ancient castle. A series of passages and fortifications contributed to Luxembourg's defence over the centuries of invasions. They included not only artillery slots and soldiers' barracks, but also served as workshops, bakeries, and even a bomb shelter during World War II.
Ooh.
Although the castle is now in ruins, visitors can tour a section of the cool 10-mile-long honeycomb of tunnels. The views from the casemates over the valley are also pretty spectacular.
That sounds really nice.
It does.
So within the city as well, 3 thing to do. There is a cathedral similar, not even similar, identical to the one in Paris, called the Notre Dame.
Oh.
And it's a big cathedral, free entry as well. Very pretty. And cultural thing to do in the city. And dead centre. There's...
So for Casemates du Bock, it is €7 for an adult.
Ooh. Sounds pretty good.
That's pretty good.
So how many hours is that? How many hours would that take up? Because we're assuming you land, you pop out for, or you cook in your hostel. So that could be in your hostel. You'd spend anywhere. You'd assume up to €5 max. If you have cooking appliances, you can do pasta or anything together for a lot cheaper. We could do that 5.
Mm-hmm.
So that brings us up to roughly 73. About £73.
Say an hour or two. A couple of hours, maybe.
So on the Saturday, you could easily fit in the cathedral, the walk along Le Chemin de la Corniche, which is a long walk along what looks to be part of canal.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of that. Definitely looks like a canal.
Would you ever go to the Luxembourg American Cemetery?
What?
So the Luxembourg American Cemetery is a memorial and the resting place of over 5,000 service members who died during World War II, including gravesite of General George S. Patron Jr. The cemetery is free of charge and open to public every day from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m, except on December the 25th and January the 1st.
Yeah, I'd go to that.
So that's another free thing, and nothing wrong with going and paying your respects as well for all the servicemen. There's a lot of walks to do.
Yeah, so Luxembourg has one of the highest ratios of national parkland to unprotected land in the world.
That's insane.
That's quite a cool stat.
That is probably why, when I go through the list of free things to do, there's an unbelievable amount of walks around parks.
Yeah. So we mentioned it before, but one of the things we obviously have to do is one of the free walking tours.
Yes.
So that would show you around the city, and if you just look up free walking tour and put in the city you're in, it always comes up. But normally, the way that I find the free walking tours is just through the hostel when you turn up, because it's one of the things that they do tend to advertise. And this will show you all the sorts of main touristy destinations without going in, and will take up a couple of hours of your time.
So I have found a free walking tour by literally typing in free walking tour Luxembourg, and it comes up all over the place, and it's called free walking tour, and the company is called 20 Tour, and they've got a website, 20tour.com, free walking tour in English. So they've got meeting point at Monument to Dix at Lens.
Nice.
I'm slaughtering another language on this podcast. How can a Luxembourg City walking tour be free? At 20 Tour, we believe every traveller should have the chance to join in an excellent city tour, even if they're travelling on a budget. Therefore, we prefer a system where you don't have to pay for a ticket in advance without knowing how good the tour is going to be. Instead, you take part in the tour first, and at the end, you can give the tour guide a tip based on what you think the tour was worth and what you can afford. It's as simple as that. So we've been on tours like that, and if you really can't afford much, then you just give what you can and say thank you for the tour. But we've had some really good walking tours, and you do learn those snippets of information that I do believe you'd never find in guides.
Yeah, very
in a normal
much
sort of book guide, which we bought when we were in La Paz in Bolivia. We went, was it called the Red Cap Tour?
Red Cap Tour, yep.
And we learned so much local knowledge. Even we met first in that courtyard outside of the big prison in La Paz.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most dangerous
prisons in the world.
Craziest prisons in the world. And he just started telling us story after story about how all the locals know that they smuggle in certain ways and how they operate. And we'd never have got any of that information if we hadn't gone on this free tour.
No, so you always learn information like that, and that was definitely very harrowing to hear about all the stories.
Terrifying, and then you start looking over your shoulder everywhere you go. When he just goes, oh yeah, watch out, because a lot of them are still moving around the outside of the prison, or they've got people working, the guys inside have people working for them on the outside, helping them get even more money.
So I've typed in, all I did was type in one thing on Google, unique locations or places in Luxembourg, and now I'm just going through one by one all the websites to see if I find anything that I like. And they all have very irritating pop-ups when you go on them. But yeah, I've got the cathedral coming up a lot. Lots of wine stuff, but I think that's probably out of our budget, because Luxembourg is very close to Bordeaux and some good German wines as well. So they have quite a lot of wine in Luxembourg, and they have wine festivals.
Ooh. So whilst Morgan's quickly looking up that, I've also found another walking tour, which is very useful if you're not English speaking, but you're also Spanish or Russian. And Spanish being one of the largest spoken languages around the world, actually very handy having a Spanish tour. And these guys are called the Walkie-Talkie Tour.
Is that an English word?
And it is a free walking tour in Spanish, English and Russian. And very much the same is it's free to turn up and give a tip at the end based on your experience and the budget that you have available to yourself.
So I'm just scrolling through. There's lots of very interesting things, but they're not actually in Luxembourg City. So I think for us on this budget, we kind of need to stay within the city because we probably can't afford to go out. But there's lots of greenery. There's lots of castles. There's Beaufort Castle. There's Scheissentumpel. So that's cool. That's otherwise known as Luxembourg's Little Switzerland.
So the walking tour will roughly take 2 to 2.5 hours. So if you're doing your unique experience on the Saturday, I'd probably suggest doing the walking tour on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Sadly, one of the problems with the walking tours are that they start at sometimes really bizarre times in the day, and then you need to really sometimes work around that. But you could normally fit something in before it or quite a few things after it, depending on what time of the day that they want to start the tour. And just make sure you check online on what day, because we're just basing this off a few assumptions of you'd get the walking tour on the Sunday. But if you couldn't do that on the Sunday, they're doing it on the Saturday, then try and jig everything around so that it all fits in. So what are you looking for now, Morgan?
So I've just seen that before seeing the bot casemates, it's worth going to Chemin de la Corniche. Before entering casemates, you'll definitely notice the stunning views over the river valley from the top. Instead of descending into the tunnels, you can choose to follow the Chemin de la Corniche, a super scenic pedestrian walk all the way to the citadel of the Holy Spirit, following all the old ramparts. The walk is only about 500 metres long, but it's still definitely one of the coolest things to see in Luxembourg. So that is another free thing that we can do also on the way, or not on the way, from one of our other things. Oh, not far from the end of Chemin de la Corniche, you'll find a free elevator whizzing you down to the Grund. The lower section of the city is a pretty cool place to wander around and spend some time along the river enjoying the village atmosphere. Maybe it's a river, not a canal. If you're only in town for a day or two, definitely include this point of interest for your Luxembourg sightseeing. It's a great place to sip a glass of wine whilst looking at the water.
So what I'm trying to find right now, whilst you're on that, I'm trying to find one of our favourite things, which is a sports event. See how much and if there's anything on at that time. So here we go on the dates. I've ended up somehow on Eventbrite. So we said we'd do it on weekend of February there. I'll see if there's anything on. Cross training. I think there might be a football match on. But because it's a lower league division, I don't know how cheap tickets are.
Hopefully very cheap. So we've got some really cool things. You can learn about the Battle of the Bulge, but these are all outside Luxembourg City. In nature, you can hike the Mullethal Trail. You can hike Scheissentumpel. I said that one already. Explore Holle Cave. Or go to Echternacht. Or go camping in Molletal or the Ardennes. So there's lots of things to do in Luxembourg for a very, very small country. So I've now gone on to a new website. Let's see what this one. Okay. So this is 10 Luxembourg moments to make you say what is going on here. So the first thing is the mermaid folklore in the landlocked country. So the story of Melusina, a well-known folktale throughout the Low Countries and nearby France, has a special place in Luxembourg's history, despite the country's lack of substantial body of water. Before Christianity arrived in Europe, water fairies and shapeshifters were running the show, with Melusina and her cohorts wowing the populace with their marine-based magic. Luxembourg's version of the tale begins when Count Siegfried, the first Count of Luxembourg, happened upon the beautiful Melusina when he was strolling along the Alzette river and proposed marriage. She agreed on the condition that once a week the Count would give her complete privacy. No doubt a relatable request when marrying a strange man encountered on a riverbank. So this is from Fodors.com that I found this, by the way. After many happy years together, the Count violated his promise and spied on Melusina in the tub, witnessing her mermaid alter ego for the first time. When she discovered his betrayal, she and the tub sank into the rocky earth below. These days, Melusina resurfaces every 7 years as a beautiful woman or serpent. Are we going on the 7th year?
Obviously.
She holds in her mouth a golden key, and whomever removes it will set her free and be able to claim her as their bride. A sequence of events which seem counterintuitive to the promise of freedom.
So, I've got a few fun facts about Luxembourg.
Did you not like my mermaid story?
It was interesting, Morgan. So, a few fun facts about Luxembourg, which I'll be interested to know if you knew any of these, Morgan.
Okay.
Luxembourg is the second richest country in the world.
I did know that.
It has the highest minimum wage in the EU.
I didn't know that.
It's one of the safest countries in the world by UN survey.
That doesn't surprise me, but I didn't know that.
Nearly half of Luxembourg's workforce commutes to work in Luxembourg from another country. That's a really cool fact.
I would have guessed that because I have met lots of people who work in Luxembourg and they're living in Germany and, well, I haven't met the French
have
side,
the most.
but
It's 78,500 workers.
wow. So what's the population of Luxembourg?
That is not on my little random fact list, but I'll quickly find that for you. So the population of Luxembourg is 634,730. To the dot.
And 78,000 to turn up
From France.
from France. Wow,
Hello.
that is quite impressive.
A restaurant with the world's largest wine list is in Luxembourg, where they have 2,200 different wines that you could order.
Nice. They must have a big cellar. Is there a cellar in Moldova?
I've no idea.
Your wine would take
Luxembourg
quite a
gets
while
its
to
name
come to you
from a
Moldova.
Saxon fortress. There are 17 kilometres of underground tunnels cut out of solid rock beneath Luxembourg City. So there must be an urban explorer tour where you can go in them.
Oh, I haven't looked that
So
up.
that's a fun fact. So try and see if you can find Luxembourg tour in one of these tunnels under the city.
I mean, it won't be in our budget, I can tell you that now, if there is one. Oh no, that always...
Just under half of the permanent residents now in Luxembourg are foreign. So huge immigrant population.
That's interesting.
It has the lowest population of all EU countries. Luxembourg City itself, or the city of Luxembourg, sorry, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of its historic fortifications and old quarters. So the entire city is a UNESCO site.
That's pretty cool. So there is lots of urbex in Luxembourg and around Luxembourg, but I cannot see a tour. So I quite often do this when travelling to places because I have a fascination for abandoned buildings, but typing in urbex and then the city name and see if there's a tour. Urbex stands for Urban Exploration, and it's basically where you explore urban areas. And the idea is to take nothing, leave no mess,
Leave no footprints.
leave only footprints.
No footprints. Hover.
Well, it's actually take photos, leave no, leave. Yeah, I'm gonna get that quote up, so that's gonna.
So have you found any tunnel tours?
No, so well, the tunnels is Bot Casemaker.
Okay. So I think we've actually managed to get a few things done on the weekend. They haven't released the time yet of the football match, But on the Saturday, there's a football match going on
Oh,
of
and
Division 1.
I'm hoping that's Division 1. I think that's probably pretty cheap. So, can we have a quick summary?
So,
I
You
can't
leave
remember
work.
half the names.
you get to the airport in Stansted. You fly, you land at 9 o'clock. You go to the hostel via a small shop where you grab some pasta and bits and bobs, where we would go and grab some pasta and bits and bobs, have a quick dinner, get a good night's sleep, and up early the next day. We would go and do one of the big walks along the, is it Chemin de la
Chemin
Corniche?
de la Corniche, yeah.
See, remembering it, Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go on your unique experience.
Which is the Bot Casemates.
Yeah, which takes roughly 2 hours.
Yeah,
So that's going in the tunnels under Luxembourg, part of the 17 kilometres tunnels.
yeah.
Then in the later afternoon after that,
Well, we can get the elevator down from Chemin de la Corniche and go have a glass of wine.
exactly, we could do that. And then we could go to the cathedral,
Yeah.
the Luxembourg's Notre Dame.
Oh, which I'm sure, to be fair, we'd probably pass, but not have the opportunity to go in on the walking tour.
Exactly. And then by this point, you're getting later into the afternoon by this point because you just walk around and there's always time lag between doing things.
And now you're just finishing the breakfast that you stocked up on in the morning.
Yeah, you've just pocketed loads of cereal.
Got some cut melon, sliced melon in your pocket.
Just pockets full of shreddies or knockoff Luxembourg cornflakes or something weird.
Or nice chocolate.
So then that's bringing your night, that's getting into the later afternoon. So then you decide what you want to do for dinner. Do you want to go and try some local food? Do we know what their national dish is? So the cuisine in Luxembourg, I believe, is a fusion between German and French food, just because it's such a unique country that it's quite a blend of so many cultures now. But I believe that the main food there is French and German. So what is the national dish, Morgan?
Well, I
grimacing.
typed in national dish and it says Jod Mat Gardbonen. It looks like, I can't even tell, potatoes, ham and gnocchi.
Does it not give a recipe for it? That looks interesting.
That was what my face was.
It's smoked collar of pork with broad beans. The pork is soaked overnight, then boiled with vegetables and spices, served in copious slices together
And
with the
served
beans and
by the
boiled
mermaids.
potatoes. It's considered to be national dish of Luxembourg.
Mm.
So, to be fair, Luxembourg's got a lot of dishes, but that is perhaps the most traditional of all of the Luxembourg meat dishes, the Judma Gardebonen. So why not go and try that on a Saturday? Why not go try a completely local dish, whether you like it or not?
Different
Eat it.
question.
Yeah, different question altogether. Why not have that and maybe a beer on the side to help it go down?
Depending on the price of beer.
That's still not going to set you back that much. We're still...
Well, are we getting football tickets?
But it's Division 1, so I assume the tickets will be roughly
£30.
£10.
Yeah, no, I have no idea. Yeah, we'll go for that.
Because when we bought
But
them
we
in
only
Boston-
have £30 total.
what, roughly left?
Yeah, we have less.
Oof. Yeah, so it depends
And we've
if you
got
want to go to
€7 on case bookmakers. We've got football for about
We'll say
a
10.
tenner. So the €7 we'll say is £5 or £6.
So yeah, so now you're tight on your dinners. So it depends if you want to go for that.
And we've bought pasta as well.
Yeah, but we said that was cheap. Which it would be.
Yeah.
Pasta in the hostel that you'd have
Yeah.
cooking
So
utensils and everything.
so what are we doing Sunday? The free walking tour. Which
Sunday,
we need to be able to tip for as well.
free walking tour. We said we'd be targeting around £100. And take into account when you try and book it, when you actually go to book this, you might be able to be a little more savvy in terms of saving tiny bits of money.
Or put Will in a hand luggage bag.
Exactly.
One bag
loads of
only.
money that way. So free walking tour on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say also potentially go to the cemetery.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Well, it wouldn't be cool. It'd be...
It's probably quite cold.
Yes, it would be cold, and it'd probably be quite heavy and moving just when you start taking some cemeteries. I know
That's because they're quite big. You've got to move a lot.
there's 5,000 people buried there.
Gonna
That's
be
a
big.
lot of people.
Yeah.
That'd be huge. So the scale of that would be quite breathtaking.
Well,
I'm sure you'd learn a lot there.
Well, I'm assuming it is like other
Like the
World
ones
War
we've
II
been,
cemeteries we've been, not
France.
like the ones in like Bolivia.
No, not the one in Bolivia where there's just about
They're
12,
just
12
boxes. It's like
just stacked.
thousands of bodies in a
It's
10
one of the
metre
largest,
square.
if not the largest cemetery in the world, I think that one
Yeah.
has. The
It was
density of
crazy.
it's absolutely insane.
It's come up a lot. We definitely need to do an episode on Bolivia
We
as a
definitely
deep
do.
dive.
A deep dive, or we crank out all of our funny stories from that trip. of
Probably
Bolivia.
be within the deep
And
dive.
snippets of information in it.
In it, did you just say?
In it.
Okay, sorry.
In the episode. I'm not saying in it, but in it.
Okay.
Within.
Within
in
it. Within it.
Within it.
There we go.
Okay, we finally got there in the end.
Whoa.
So then, yeah, on Sunday you could do the free walking tour, cemetery. I think we could easily get something else in there. There are so many walks to do.
I know this has actually really excited me about going to. Luxembourg was definitely on my list of places to go for the next year and a bit, just because I've got very limited time, and I feel like it's a
It's
place
an easy place to get to.
that's
It's only an
easy
hour.
to get to, not too expensive to actually get to. Maybe when you get there,
Yeah.
but definitely doing this
But even
really.
if your budget was £150, that much more in the budget, we'd suddenly go and have 2 really good dinners and go and be able to do maybe a few more things. We'd actually
Yeah.
go and that's sudden, but still within, even if you're
Still a
trying to book
budget trip,
Yeah.
reasonably.
if you're trying to do a good weekend overseas
ish.
for
Budget-ish.
£150 or even £25.
Well, I guess that is including flights. But yeah, I
It's
would
including
love
flights.
to do something like
2
this.
nights.
Maybe a bit more of beer budget, but
I'd be interested
or
to
what
see...
beer and wine, because I think if we went with more of a budget, you'd have to try the wine
Yeah, definitely.
for sure.
But I'm sure, as everywhere, you'd be able to
There are
find
lots
cheaper.
of winery tours.
Yeah, and Luxembourg's got a lot of award-winning wine as well.
Hmm.
So we could try and wiggle our way around that as well. But I'll be interested to know if our viewers and listeners would be excited by the concept of later in the season, Morgan and I do an episode similar to this, but even quicker. But as we're going along, we actually start to book the flights, and we can even start planning it whilst we go out there.
And if we run out of money whilst we're out there, then
Then we're going to show you
we
the
do.
madness of the trip.
But also, I guess, more importantly, would you go on that trip? That trip that we've just planned, did you like it? Do you like the things that we did?
Or have you been to Luxembourg and did you regret? Or have you been to Luxembourg and did you regret not doing something that we've mentioned? Did you do something that we've mentioned? And comment below or message us on our Instagram or contact us however you can. And you say, oh no, I wouldn't do that, but I'd actually really recommend this, and this was free, or this was really budget friendly. And let us know. Let us know your opinion of Luxembourg. Did you really like it as a city? Did you hate it?
And
Why
what
did you hate it?
And what did you think about our techniques and how we actually planned our trip? Do you have better techniques? Is that just because you're from Luxembourg? Well, that's unfair then. But anyway, if you like the techniques or had better tips that maybe you have that you could give us to use on our next one, so that we can maybe find some more interesting places, because there could be a local site that's for Luxembourg that actually has the activities, possibly the tourism board. That could be a good one to look at in future. The tourism boards for countries tend to also have the top
I did
sites.
go on Luxembourg-city.com and it didn't come up in English, which was really useful.
Well, that's what you need to work on, Luxembourg.
But how many people can say that they can try and plan a weekend holiday in overseas in less than 50 minutes like we've done on this episode? Because if you haven't and you want to learn more, and we will get quicker episodes out there, and we can actually book one of these holidays doing a crazy episode like this, you need to make sure you've liked, subscribed, and if you really, really like us and you're keen to learn more and to save money, press that notification bell on YouTube so it reminds you when our episodes come out. And if you're listening to us on a podcast, please leave a review, because that is how we grow and how we grow even more trees. And do follow us on as many podcast platforms as possible, downloading all of those episodes.
And now, I think, for the first time in
Of
season
season
2 of the actual episodes, I guess technically we did probably do it in the trailer.
What are we going to roll?
Roll the outro.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.